Getting set for hoops this afternoon at Jadwin. The Vermont Catamounts, led by Elisa Kresge, seventh year. She originally was appointed as the interim head coach back in 1819, and you see that over 100 career wins already. Back in her home state, Red Bank Catholic graduate, was a terrific point guard for Marist. Led them to a Sweet 16 in 2007. And on the opposite side, Carla Berube, who knows something about playing in Sweet 16s, played in a couple Final Fours, and was a national champion at Connecticut in 1995. Season 5 for her in Central Jersey. It'll be Olsen and Hill to jump center and get us started just ahead of the Christmas holiday. Same starting five for the Tigers they have rolled with since the season-ending injury to Madison St. Rose. There is Belker, compliments of Parker Hill.
That's great execution to start the game if you're the Tigers. Tall set a really nice back screen. Belker got herself available and open.
Vermont, a very good defensive team, holding their opponents under 60 points per game on the season, but they have struggled to score a bit. Malia Lenz back into the starting lineup for the Catamounts today. 5 on the timer. Olsen around Parker Hill, missed the rim, and Hutcherson comes down with the rebound. It's a shot clock violation.
Great defense from Princeton. I mean, you can expect today for Vermont to use as much of the shot clock as possible, but great job there by Parker Hill just to wall up on Olsen, not allowing her to get an open look at the basket.
One thing that's different about Princeton this year, Ice, post players, such willing and good passers. Fadima Tall, no good from beyond. Rebound chased down by Kat Gilwey. Boy, Princeton all over the actions right now. Olsen, one-on-one with Hill. Had it knocked away by Fadima Tall. She got it back. That's a 3-second violation.
Basketball.
Another great defensive possession from the Tigers. Watch here as Fadima Tall just helps, gets the deflection, and then ultimately that causes the 3 seconds in the lane. And Vermont, they want to give it to Olsen inside, but I think there's got to be more action around her once she gets it inside to see if she can distribute or just play one-on-one on the post. You don't want her to be able to be doubled.
2 minutes gone in the first quarter. Belker, the drive and kick. Chia for 3. That's good.
Ashley Chia.
She is such a confident three-point shooter. Reigning Ivy League Player of the Week after she dropped 18 last weekend against URI.
Yeah, and she's so confident with her 3 off the bounce as well. That's what makes her so dangerous.
Lenz to the left hand. Tall clears it. Princeton wants to run. Early post up for Parker Hill. This is something that head coach Carla Berube has been all about with her team this year. Get that ball inside, and it leads to free throws for Fadima Tall.
Well, when you get that ball inside, you can have some off-ball action here. Tall just back cuts Lenz, then goes up strong. And Hansen there for the help, but commits the foul. But that's that off-ball action I was just talking about that Vermont needed to have, that now the Tigers are showing. Ball goes into the post. You're seeing players dive to the basket.
Almost use that defensive attention that gets drawn by another cutter. I mean, I was a post player for whatever it was, 6'2", but when opponents are moving, when there's no help diving in against you, and even your defender is looking, where's that help going? Do I need to adjust for a pass? And then you can use that to your advantage.
Yeah, it can get stuck. You don't want the ball to get stuck. You want it to have freedom and movement.
Vito along 2. That's no good. Back playing in her home state. Senior from Montville, New Jersey. Sophomore point guard Ashley Chia running the show for the Princeton Tigers. Taking over for Caitlin Chen, graduate transfer Off to Connecticut. Though Chia and Chen, who played together a year ago, also played a year of high school basketball together. Rebound there for Kat Gilway. Vermont looking for their first points. Sarah Erickson, early substitution for Vermont. Gilway fouled on the floor. It's on Belker.
Vermont running a lot of ball screen continuity offense. You see Gilway here kind of snake the screen, hold off Belker, and that's how she drew the foul. But she was able to get access into the paint off of that screen.
Oh, great delivery on the inbound. An easy finish for Prieta, who just entered Nikola Prieta. Sophomore from Latvia has the first field goal of the afternoon for Vermont. Hill over Olsen. Well, you just can't teach that 6'4", can you?
Yeah, really nice move. Had a good shot, created a little bit of space against Olsen and able to get her shot off.
Hill, one of the most efficient scorers in the country. Enters play today 13th in the nation in effective field goal percentage. Chia finds Parker Hill, who scores two more.
Beautiful two-woman game. Chia just has her head up, ready to find Hill, the cutter, and then she used those long arms to caress the ball. Nice soft finish in the lane.
Gilway negotiating a screen. Olsen wants it inside. 10 on the timer. Erickson feeding the post, and Belker comes up with the steal. Princeton's defense locked in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's back-to-back turnovers for Vermont where they're trying to get the ball into the post, and they're just not doing a great job on their post-entry passes.
Chia and Hill back to the two-player game. Fatima Tall with 8. She draws a crowd. Belker for 3. Oh, it's good. The Tigers shooting the lights out early in the first quarter.
And we mentioned in the open of this game how Fatima Tall is becoming more of a distributor for this team, but it's because she attracts so much attention inside, willing to kick it out to her shooter and Belker. And if you're Vermont, you can't double and leave Belker. That wouldn't make much sense, partner, in terms of how she shoots from 3, and she's a leading scorer for the Tigers.
Part of what's so unique about this Princeton team this year, how they have such depth across their roster, showcasing it through the first 5 minutes today at Jadwin, a 12-point lead.
As a family, it's always really nice when you're able to get a home game, so to speak, on the road. So that's really awesome. I had this similar opportunity. I remember my freshman year, I went out to, I played at the University of Florida, and we went out to play at Denver, and our senior point guard at the time was from Colorado, and so her family hosted us for a pasta dinner before our games, and just has a really nice home touch. You know, sometimes you get so tired of being on the road and eating the hotel food. It is nice to sit in someone's living room and chat with family.
So true. Christina Perella and Tabby Almanze are on the floor for the Tigers. Shot clock is under 5. 3 ball up for Erickson. It's good for the Division II transfer, Sarah Erickson, who is starting to come into her own for Vermont. She had 16 in Thursday's loss against Buffalo.
Yeah, it would be really nice if she could continue to be a boost off the bench for the Catamounts.
Monzi doubled. Hutcherson delivers 3 for Princeton.
Again, it's tough when you go to double the post and you're leaving shooters wide open on the perimeter, especially Hutcherson there, able to catch and shoot in rhythm without a closeout, John. I believe in you knocking down that shot.
First made 3 in the season for Hutcherson. And a nice answer at the other end of the floor for Vermont as Erickson has another field goal.
And Erickson this time finding success getting downhill. Little bump, gets it up with the left. Nice little nifty dribble to get free as well.
3-point play for Sarah Erickson, usually from Norwich, Connecticut. Tina Perella running it right now for Princeton. Amanzi. Perella comes to get it. No connection inside. Just the first turnover for Princeton. Good set of defense there for the Catamounts.
Yeah, that time I thought the Catamounts anticipated Princeton wanting to go inside to Amanze, and instead maybe the skip option was open.
Monze, an absolute force in Princeton's win over Rhode Island 11 days ago. Tough shot in the paint is halfway down and out. Hutcherson skies to the rafters for the rebound. Here is Perella the other way. Tall, the trail three. Offensive rebound for Princeton. Amanze no good. Erickson breaks out of the pack with it for Vermont. Boy, Princeton getting a lot of good shots in this first quarter, Ice.
And really attacking the O boards as well. I love that activity that we just saw from Amanze on the glass.
Olsen quiet in this first quarter. Just one field goal attempt. As we approach 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, Erickson no good.
Great defense from the Tigers. That was definitely contested. Chia with the pitch ahead. And oh my goodness, the finish from Olivia Hutcherson. How about that defense to offense?
What a first quarter for Hutcherson. Vito. Erickson draws a crowd. Prieta. 7 on the timer. Vito in search of Olsen. It's another Vermont turnover.
Yeah, there's just not enough player movement off ball if you're Vermont. There's a lot of standing and waiting for someone else to drive and kick. Instead, I think there needs to be more off ball cuts.
Chia pulls up for 2 and left it short.
Final minute of play in the first quarter.
Vito. Erickson quickly inside. Olsen takes advantage of the mismatch and scores it.
By Anna Olsen.
Also finding success early offense. That might have been the first time Vermont has gotten a good look at the basket. First 6 seconds of the shot clock. So scoring in transition and then going inside to Olsen.
Monze, the target. Spinning with 10. No good with the left hand. He'll stay at this end of the floor.
Princeton. Returning Sky Belker and checking in.
Boy, good first quarter minutes for Ashley Chia and Olivia Hutcherson. They head to the bench for the final seconds.
Yeah, that backcourt was really active here. You see, it looked like Bella Vito knocked that one out.
Taylor Charles on the floor for the first time for the Tigers. Christina Perella chased off the line. About a 6-second difference between the clocks as Perella creates for Fadima Tall. Amanze with the clock running down. No good off the back of the rim. With 3 seconds. Gilwee. It would have counted.
At the end of the first quarter, the score here, Princeton Tigers.
Princeton leads by 9 after 10 minutes today at Jadwin Gym. All 5. Well, a couple of early threes for the Princeton Tigers. Ice Young, that is nothing new for this Princeton team. Such efficiency shooting the three, top 50 in the nation in three-point percentage, led by Sky Belker, who's shooting 43% from three.
Yeah, I mean, it's a credit to, one, this team just has a bunch of confident shooters. They share the ball so well that a lot of their makes and takes are open, catch and shoot, in rhythm. So they're getting high-quality looks off of their ball movement.
Chia, Belker, and Hutcherson with three-point makes in the first quarter. Final game before the Christmas break for both teams. That's no good in the mid-range from Kira Hansen, contested by Parker Hill. Tigers with quite a bit of size on the floor. Tall, Charles, and Hill together, each measuring at least 6 foot tall. Gia couldn't connect with Hill that time.
I think she was looking to go maybe over the top a little bit. I saw an opportunity for possibly a bounce pass there, but they've connected those two on a two-man game before.
Feels like that's one of the more difficult passes to try to execute off a pick and roll action ice.
I definitely think so, especially when you know that there's going to be help on the weak side. And so if Parker Hill is able to catch that cleanly and she has to turn and put the ball on the floor, there's going to be someone on the opposite side wanting to steal that and play some good defense.
Vermont, 4 of their first 11 from the field, turned it over 5 times in the first quarter. Olsen wants it. 3 ball is up from Gilwee and no good.
And what's happening is the Tigers are doing such a great job of, they are switching initially. So for about 2 seconds, there's a mismatch. But then once the ball is reversed, they are switching back, and Vermont not capitalizing quick enough off getting mismatches. They have to find Olsen inside, especially when she has a guard guarding her.
Sort of an old school look right now. A couple of post players for Princeton. Parker Hill floats in 2 more. She's a perfect 3 for 3 in the first half.
Yeah, just a really simple turnaround. You got to think Olsen might need to give her a little bit more resistance on the post.
3 ball up and good for Emma Hahn off the bench. That's a player we can see a little bit more from for Vermont when they get into conference play.
Yeah, John, you and I talked about her pregame, and I really liked her ability offensively to score in a multitude of ways.
Chia missing off the offensive glass. Lens the other way. She's been in and out of the starting lineup for Vermont this year. Gilwee, Hahn. Gilwee working it with Olsen. It's Hahn. No good from beyond. Another good look for her.
But that's the look that you want. The look that you want is for them to come off the ball screen, have Hahn as the fill, and knock it down. On the other side for the Tigers, a brilliant look as well.
Boy, look at Taylor Charles on the glass. It's getting physical inside. Foul on Belker as Olsen pulled down that rebound, but well, you see what Taylor Charles can do for Princeton.
And Belker came in a little hot there at the end, gets the foul, but I agree with you about the energy from Taylor Charles. That's what you want when players come off the bench, is you want to see them take it the level of game up a notch.
Gilwee. This is Olsen. No good. Good process, though.
I mean, anytime they can get Anna Olsen one-on-one in the post, they like their odds. And so if that's the shot that they're going to get, Coach Kresge is willing to live with that.
Belker swings it. Charles. Nowecki. No good from beyond. Offensive rebound. Parker Hill. Belker. 3 ball is good. With Gilwee right in her face.
Going to say that was actually contested. And Belker, with the confidence, knocks it down.
Well, you don't shoot 43% from 3 when you shoot them wide open, right? You're going to have some contested looks mixed in.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point in the season, every team knows the scout. They know that she is the one to guard from 3. Look how hard Anna Olsen had to work for that. I mean, several different pivots in and out, creating space over Parker Hill to knock it down.
Olsen, the only starter for Vermont who has scored to this point. All their other points coming off the bench. Parker Hill missed it off the window, her first miss today. Foul is called on Belker, and that is her third.
Third personal. 2-second substitution for Vermont.
Off the ball screen action here. She's guarding Gilwee again. And yeah, that offhand on the shoulder, that is definitely a foul. Referees can see that you might be trying to hold back the offensive player, not allowing freedom of movement.
Well, something to monitor for Princeton. Belker to the bench with a little bit of foul trouble. Christina Perella, the first one getting the call. Chia comes up with the steal thanks to Toby Nowecki's defense. Perella Amelia Osgood, Nowecki, Chia, and Hill, the 5 for Princeton. Down to 8 on the timer. Chia into the paint. Extra pass. Christina Perella. No good from the corner. Offensive rebound and a putback for Parker Hill.
Man, just does a great job of not accepting the box out, getting the offensive boards, and then no need to put on the floor. Get it back up quickly onto the glass.
Tough shot for Erickson is no good. Rebound chased down by Olsen. Hansen will shoot 2.
I like that drive by Hansen. You know, oftentimes your team is struggling offensively. You got to find a way to get downhill, get higher percentage looks, really try to attack the basket. That time she draws the foul.
Following the Princeton foul, here at Hansen's the line for Vermont for 2 shots.
Hansen, junior originally from Washington, Issaquah, Washington, 6th player of the year last year in the America East. What a banner year it was a year ago for Vermont. Reached the America East Championship game, the 3rd consecutive 20-win season under Elisa Kresge. Made their way all the way to the WNIT Fab 4.
Very great year, and I had the chance to call a couple of Vermont's games earlier this season in the Cancun Challenge, and in talking to Coach Gretzky, she said, man, we have high expectations for this season. Like, we now know every year we want to be at the top of the league. We want to compete for a championship. So they feel like their program is back on the map, and they got a little bit of work to do here on the road versus the Tigers. Down less than 10, couple minutes left in the second quarter. Absolutely. And how about that goal? Man, we talked about it. Sudden death, getting by the keeper. I love drama in sports. Congratulations to them.
I will say that soccer has a very unique ability to deliver drama.
Ooh.
Ashley Chia,
So does
first
she.
points out of the media timeout.
Nifty move there by Chia.
Vermont 6 of 17 from the field in the first half. Katie Thiers defending right now against Erickson. Couple of seniors locking horns here. Lazar, her first appearance, under 10 on the timer. Lazar, the catch inside, defended by Thiers, and she controls the rebound.
Great help defense by Thiers. Just exactly where she needed to be. Stayed solid, didn't commit the foul.
Tigers with 2 starters on the floor, Hill and Chia right now. Hill is doubled. Katie Thiers for 3. No good off the front of the rim. Fight for the rebound is won by Lazar and Vermont. Free ball up for Lazar, halfway down and out. Offensive rebound and a stick back for Bella Vito, senior captain.
That's one of the ways you can get momentum back on your side if you're the Catamounts is offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Osgood and Thiers, couple of captains on the floor. 3 ball, no good from Chia. Wow, look at Hill on the offensive glass. Osgood tries a 3 and got it.
What a dagger play there. Really nice work on the offensive boards from Hill, and then Osgood with the 3.
Brieda, the target inside. Blocked by Hill.
And she is doing everything in this first half. Parker Hill, offensively and defensively.
Chia attracts a crowd. Hill's got a mismatch. All kinds of space for Ashley Chia. Boy, looks like she's just out in the park right now, doesn't it?
And she plays so free. She's so fun to watch. Again, especially off the bounce.
Timeout taken by Vermont as Princeton has extended the lead to their largest of the day, 16 points. Ashley Chia now with 7 to go with 4 assists. What impresses you most about the way Princeton has played offensively today, Ice?
Really just, the efficiency, and we know that's a calling card of this team, but right now they're shooting 46% from the field, 35% from three. And by the way, they've made both of their free throw attempts. And so they're getting everything that they want. Catch and shoot open shots from the perimeter, finding their post players inside. And then their guards have also scored. It just seems like Vermont hasn't been as disruptive as they wanted to be defensively. And so they've got to find a way to get stops in a row and then score consistently. Although I think their scoring has picked up with some of their players off the bench.
Erickson had that one knocked away, and it went off her foot. I mean, Erickson has really provided a spark for Vermont off the bench, but pretty good hands defensively here. Fatima Tall comes up with it. Katie Thiers in there as well defensively. Tall and Thiers working together, and it results in a Princeton turnover, just their third in the first half.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of those turnovers. Almost all three, I want to say, have come from trying to find the post player over the top rather than maybe hitting the throwback option or advancing the pass to the next guard on the perimeter. You don't have to force it over the top.
Vito for three. Rebounded by Ashley Chia. Tigers +8 on the glass in the first half. Thiers. Tall. Hutcherson. Blocking foul against Vermont. Is on Vito.
And Vermont kind of got stuck looking at the ball in the post. They didn't keep their heads on the swivel for the cutters coming weak side. And that's how Vito picked up the foul.
Monze back on the floor for Princeton. Chia in search of Hutcherson. That, I believe, went off a foot. On we play.
It was one of those, she threw it off her foot, not she meant to kick it.
Boy, Olsen's got a mismatch inside and immediately gave it up.
I was going to say, then you got to be aggressive, though. When you get the mismatch inside, you have to take it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If you're Anna Olsen, you have to look to get a high percentage shot, especially when you have a guard guarding you. She needs to be a little bit more selfish, even the first time.
I will admit that sometimes as a post player, when you have a mismatch, sometimes you can move a little bit too quick. You're a little bit too excited about the opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah, I just think the Tigers have been so good at switching back when they do have the mismatches. You want to use it quickly, and that time bit too much strength inside for Amonde. She uses that shoulder on Olsen.
Second
commits the
personal
offensive.
on Amonze.
Less than a minute to play in the second quarter.
Under 40 seconds to go in the first half. Chia went down. Good set of defense for the Tigers. Boy, how many times have we said that in this first half? Tall's got a piece of it. Another possession going nowhere quick. And Vermont bailed out by a foul. It's on Fatima Tall.
Yeah, Tigers defense has been great. It's been well connected. They talk, communicate. And again, it's a Vermont team that does a lot of little actions. They set a lot of little screens. They slip a lot. They backdoor. So you have to communicate. But Princeton really has had everything covered and managed to keep them at bay.
Late sub for Vermont. Prieto will check in for Gilwey on a make.
Substitution for Princeton, returning Nicole Prieta.
Lead is 12. Ticking down the final seconds. Pardon, the lead is 13. Vermont under 30% from the field. Gia draining out the clock. Working with Fatima Tall. Under 5. Tall, the step back 2. No good. Hutcherson's tip may have counted.
And even the athleticism, though, from Hutcherson to attempt that with one hand. How about a strong first half, though, from the Princeton Tigers?
Parker Hill leading the way. 8 points and 5 boards with a couple of assists. The Tiger lead is 13 as we hit halftime this afternoon at Jadwin. Time starter at the point guard spot, leading the Tigers in points, assists, rebounds today. She's on a triple-double watch with 5 rebounds and 4 assists right now.
And having an efficient game, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. I mean, just a player that can really fill up the stat sheets. And, I mean, she's ready for this. She had years to play with and under Caitlin Chen. And so last year, there was just a ton of opportunity for her to soak in all of that information, whether it was practice, games, and that's why it's so important to have veterans on the floor for your team, because they help bring the freshmen and the sophomores and the younger players up. And if you're watching her play, you can see a Caitlin Chen-esque in her game. But make no mistake about it, Ashley Chia also has some versatility of her own. I mean, the way in which she scores shooting the ball off the dribble, I think is better than that of a Caitlin Chen.
I mean, she's certainly a better three-point shooter at this juncture in her career than Caitlin Chen was. Because let's remember, Caitlin Chen has that extra year of eligibility because her first year was the 2020-21 academic year.
To think that COVID was 4 years ago. Man, it still seems like things are closing early because of it.
Long two for Malia Lenz is no good. Bella Vito after it on the offensive glass. Vito playing with a little bit of wiggle here in the third quarter. Trying to pick up the energy for Vermont. Olsen traveled on the catch. Frustrating day at that end of the floor for Vermont.
Tigers doing a great job of crowding Olsen and not allowing her just to see a lot of open space or channels to make her move.
I mean, that's one thing that you and I were talking about before the game today, Ice, that when you watch Princeton, you see their defense consistently in the gaps. There's no little openings that teams can take advantage of.
Yeah, they're just on one accord, and even when it seems like they may be overhelp or they aren't there, they rotate fast enough. Now, that right there was a good defensive possession for Vermont. Can they capitalize offensively?
Lenz tries a three and got it. First field goal in the second half for Vermont. And the energy on that sideline has really picked up after the timeout.
Well, because defense is their calling card. So when this team isn't getting stops defensively, they don't have the same effort, intensity, and energy, like you said, partner, offensively. This is where they get their spark.
10 on the timer. Hutcherson around Vito and couldn't finish. Cleared by Olsen.
That's a good take by Hutcherson. Really nice and strong, just didn't get the finish.
Lenz. Olsen matching up with Tall. Couldn't finish with the left hand. Hutcherson has the rebound. And a foul from behind on Malia Lenz.
Olsen just having a tough afternoon of it inside. A little bit of the Tigers and their size and length in guarding her. Normally those buckets would go, but they're a little short, a little off. And I think what Tall has been able to do and Hill inside, they've just been disruptive.
Ooh, that's an offensive foul on Perella running into Erickson.
Offensive foul charged to Christina Perella. Perella's first personal. Princeton's first team foul in the third quarter.
And here, watch how she gives the handoff and it just keeps running through. That is a foul. You got to be able to stop or change the direction in which you're going and not run into the defender. That is a foul.
Erickson, Olsen. Good look finally falls for Anna Olsen. Her third field goal.
Got a little bit of freedom there, John. Just right in the logo area. Hill not necessarily crowding her. Got the jumper to go.
Perella is fouled out top, but there is some of that aggressiveness defensively. Emma Hahn committing the foul there. But that is a young player for Vermont that we can expect to see more of as the year goes on. Head coach Lisa Krensky telling us about that the other day. She says, Hahn's got a chance to really help us once we get into league play.
Yeah, she's challenging her just to improve on her defense and maintain the standard that this program has set on that end. But make no mistake, I've seen them play several times this season. I think Hahn has the ability to really improve their offensive game.
Foul inside as Vermont was trying to deal with Parker Hill at the front of the rim.
Vermont foul charged to Anna Olsen.
Foul is on Olsen, her first personal. That's one thing you can note about Vermont. They're pretty clean in terms of foul trouble today. Just a fifth foul whistled against Vermont.
And that's an adjustment because in their loss to Buffalo, they committed too many fouls and allowed Buffalo to get to the free throw line. Oh, great work inside by Parker Hill. Again, just using her size as an advantage, posting up hard, and she draws the foul.
First personal, team's fourth.
Rieta picks up the foul there. She heads to the sideline. Sarah Lazar, senior forward from Madison, Wisconsin, checks in. Amelia Osgood back in the game for Princeton, her first appearance in the second half. Parker Hill to target again. And Vermont forces a turnover. Erickson breaks out of the pack. Vito draws a foul against Chia.
You can see the pace picking up just a little bit for Vermont. Off of their defense, they're trying to get out in transition and get early offense. Vito forcing the issue. And in that last possession, Vermont read the defense very well. You could tell that the Tigers were trying to go inside to Parker's 3 defenders that anticipated that pass and ultimately got the steal.
Very much been a deliberate game. Only 2 fast break points total. Erickson. Tigers switch. Turnover for Vermont.
Tenth turnover of the game for the Catamounts. This is an area that they've been wanting to improve on, especially in the non-con.
Fadima Tall has 3 more for Princeton. Her second today. Tall's got 8.
Good action by the Tigers. That time Vermont had 2 players on the ball. Tall left wide open, knocked it down.
Erickson, no good. Vito comes away with an offensive rebound. Hahn, no good off the front of the rim. And a foul on the board as Tall wins the battle. They're going to give this to Olsen, and that is her second personal.
Vermont foul charged to Anna Olsen.
Well, Princeton weathered a pretty good storm there from Vermont. Well, today's broadcast is presented in part by Coca-Cola. Proud to support Princeton Athletics. And by Hamilton Jewelers, a proud partner of the Princeton Tigers. A couple of free throws coming for Princeton. Have the media timeout. A little quiet around campus these days. Finals have wrapped up for much of the Princeton Tigers. Wrapped up on Sunday. Chatting with Katie Thiers on the Get Stops podcast earlier this week. She finished her finals on Sunday. But head coach Carla Berube was talking about this time of year and how she understands they've actually had to adjust their practices a little bit, so they're doing a little bit less in terms of thinking, focusing a little bit more on individual player development and sort of understanding that brain power is getting used off the court quite a bit this week.
Exactly, especially because of finals. I mean, it's just a tough time to be a student athlete. A lot of things get packed into that last week on campus, and so I mean, I love a time. Oh, great defense there by Fadima Tall, but I love times when we spend just on player development and making sure that players are getting better. There's so much of practice that is spent on team stuff, whether it's defense, offense, knowing the system, plays, etc., that you also want to develop your players individually. So it's great that they're spending time doing that during the break.
Under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Princeton gives it up. A little bit of a tougher day for Tabby Amanze to get going after the breakout game for her against Rhode Island last Wednesday. Pass off target there from Belker.
Probably needed to be a bit higher.
They set up for Olsen. Grad student kicks out. Hahn for three. No good. Amanze the board.
I like the inside-outside action, though, and the Tigers that time showed Olsen a little bit more attention, so she had to kick out to the shooter.
Perella, Osgood, Belker, Amanze with position. Draws a double. Corner three for Osgood is good. Amelia Osgood has not played a ton in her career at Princeton, but goodness, can she shoot the three? A senior captain, which speaks to just how you can impact a team even when you're not on the floor full time.
No, absolutely. I mean, the intangibles are so important. And then, like you mentioned, she doesn't get a ton of minutes, but checked into the game, ready to go. Off of the great Tiger ball movement, knocks down the triple.
And a moving screen off the ball. That is on Hahn.
The Vermont offensive foul charged to Emma Hahn. Second personal. Vermont is over the limit. Returning to the floor for Princeton, Ashley Chia. Returning for Vermont, Sarah Erickson.
And just the foul on Hahn on the screen. I think a bit of a hip check there at the end.
Emily Edie is on the floor for the first time for Princeton, number 14 in the white and orange. First-year forward from Newport Beach, California. Amanze draws a crowd. Couldn't finish with the right hand. They've turned an ankle as well.
She's definitely running a bit gingerly up the floor.
Three ball from the corner. No good. Goes off the hand of Malia Lenz, who has been such a good shooter for Vermont this year. Chia dancing. No good. And cleared by Erickson. Olsen, the target out in front of the pack. Able to keep it in play. And a timeout taken by Princeton.
Princeton. This will be
It's a 30-second timeout to get Amanze off the floor after it looks like she's still smarting a bit.
Yeah, getting tended to on the bench by the athletic training team. The Tigers have stayed really consistent in this third quarter. They just continued right off the bat from the start, knocking down shots, continuing to play great defense. You certainly hope Amanze is okay.
There has been a little bit of history for Tabby Amanze. She missed her entire first campaign at Princeton. And let's not forget, one of the highest ranked recruits in the history of Ivy League women's basketball, number 43 according to ESPNW when she arrived in the fall of 2022, limited to just 15 games last year. Katie Thiers on the floor to replace Amanze. Perella for three. That's no good. Final 90 seconds of the third quarter. No good from Hansen. Vermont will get another shot at it. Vermont 2 of 11 from the field here in the third quarter.
Hansen trying to get downhill. Not able to get it to go, but good activity on the offensive glass. We haven't seen a ton of minutes today from Hansen.
Erickson around and out.
And that looked good. That looked halfway down.
I mean, Erickson can really shoot it. 3 years at St. Thomas Aquinas. Boy, look at Ashley Chia with the left hand.
Oof. She is just so skilled.
Gilwey tries a three. No good. Princeton ball off the rebound.
Substitution for Vermont, returning Bella Vito. Returning to the floor for Princeton, Taylor Charles, and checking into the Tigers, number 5, Paige Morton.
Well, good minutes for Christina Perella and Katie Thiers as they arrive on the sideline for Princeton. Tigers reaching a bit further into the bench. Paige Morton, her first appearance of the day, running with Edie in the front court. Osgood, Chia, and Charles in the backcourt right now. Gia inside, Paige Morton. Edie missed it after her own miss. Knocks it out of play. Boy, Princeton blitzing out of the halftime locker room, leading to an early timeout. They are plus 11 in the third quarter alone. Gilway in the final seconds of the third. Olsen the target and a foul inside. It is Osgood hanging on to Olsen.
Olsen just has had, again, a tough afternoon. Look at two players there. I mean, you can tell on the scout for the Tigers, there's an intention to pack the paint, not allowing her to get an open catch. You don't even want her to catch one-on-one, honestly.
And look at the length of Morton. Oh, the shot good. Does it count? They are going to call it good. A shot on the floor from Gilway at the buzzer. They'll take a look as Vermont gets the final points of the third quarter. This from Kat Gilway, the redshirt junior, at the horn. Is good.
And, well, I mean, look at the contest. Almost seemed like there was a high-five action there between her and Morton, but that's why you have to shoot those shots as the shot clock is running down. I had a coach when I started playing, like young AAU, I was about 9 years old, and she was like, those shots count. They matter. Sometimes if you end up winning by 2 points, maybe those were the 2 points that happened. And so sometimes you'll see teams hold the ball, or maybe a player won't want to take the last shot because they don't want to take a bad shot that adds to their stats.
Protect the numbers?
Yeah, it's
oh,
not
no.
about that, John.
No.
Shot.
Did you ever make a quarter-ending buzzer beater?
I did. In high school, I did, actually.
Really?
I think it was my only one, but it's like from half court, from the corner, and I was playing so bad in that half, so it made it so much better going into halftime.
Vermont trying to get on track offensively here in the fourth quarter. They're at 26% shooting. Olsen simply had nowhere to go, and Chia nearly came up with a turnover. Olsen off the broken play scores it.
Little lucky find there for Olsen, but she has such good touch around the basket, from the mid-range as well.
Charles begging for it inside. Chia draws a crowd. Down to 10 on the timer for Princeton. This is Hutcherson putting it on the deck. Morton the catch inside, and she's bumped to the floor by Olsen.
And that's unfortunate for Vermont. Only 3 seconds left on the shot clock, so ideally you want to play honest defense there.
She gets it into Morton, who had it knocked away immediately. Paige Morton, 14 starts in her career. Certainly can be quite a force on the offensive glass for Princeton, and that one blown up by Hansen, who comes up with the steal. Extra pass, Gilway. Tigers mismatched defensively. Gilway can't make him pay, and Charles clears it. Charles wants it inside, but Vito comes up with the takeaway.
And great defense by Vito as she was getting posted up. And then on the other side, she drives the gap. But I love when guards are able to fight defensively and use their foot speed, especially when they're trying to be posted up. And then here you see her on the drive, just gets bumped from Morton.
Vito spent some time on the ball early this year. Certainly better fit as a two-guard for Vermont.
And substitution for Princeton, returning Toby Nowicki.
Kresge, the fourth winningest coach in Vermont's program history, over 100 career wins. Hansen no good off the inbounds. Hutcherson comes up with the floorboard. Chia creates space. No good off the back of the rim. Hutcherson wins the battle for the rebound.
Man, Hutcherson is so good on the glass.
Fatima Tall rainbows in another triple.
The best time to find a three-point shooter on the perimeter is after an offensive rebound. The defense is scattered, and Princeton really specializes in that. They kick it to the perimeter, and they look to find the next available shooter.
Hansen, no good on the reverse. And then Vito couldn't control the rebound. Boy, what a day for Fatima Tall. She'd made 6 threes all season. She's got 3 this afternoon.
And shooting them confidently, partner.
Also returning for Vermont, Emma Hahn.
Here on the offensive rebound goes off the leg of Vito. But yeah, Fatima Tall shooting them confidently. She came into this game 6 of 26, 23%, yet she's 3 of 5 today.
Got a foul off the ball. Brieda battling away in the post for Vermont. Inbound goes to Toby Nowecki, her older sister Chet.
Who's in the stands, by the way?
Oh, I didn't see Chet was in the building today.
Yep, she's sitting with behind the Princeton bench she is. If our camera hits up, yep, see up into the left corner. See Chet, she's behind the guy with the orange hat. Nope. She's around.
It's good to see Chet, and we're certainly sending our best wishes to her on a speedy recovery, suffering a season-ending injury in Georgetown's first game of the year this year.
Yeah, Chet sitting behind.
Yeah, there she is with mom and dad.
Yeah, guy with the orange hat.
You were all over it, partner.
Georgetown team that I feel like is going to be very good in the Big East.
I was going to say, that's it's been a long time coming for Georgetown.
I totally agree. And after the season they had last year, using their head coach to breast cancer, Tasha Butts, and interim head coach Darnell Haney stepping up. I mean, they had such a good season, got all the way to the Big East Championship against UConn. And I follow that league closely. Honestly, from the outside or the inside, you weren't expecting them to have that type of year.
Oh, no. I saw them last year at Temple, and they won that game, and I was saying to myself, okay, there are pieces here, but the Big East is a different animal.
Yeah.
And, so much credit to that staff for keeping that team together. I mean, you lose Tasha Butts in just the most dramatically worst way possible on the eve of the season, basically.
Oh. That's what makes sports, so awesome, though, is the stories along the way and how everyone is battling different adversities, but you come together on the court and you try to win games.
It is across the athletic spectrum. I mean, I'm sure you're following the volleyball championships these days with Penn State's Katie Schumacher-Cauley.
Tomorrow, Sunday, yes.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Championship.
3 o'clock, right?
I think so, partner.
I'm going to have to dual screen for that one in the afternoon, but...
be remiss to mention, but I don't know, her name's not coming to me, but the head coach of Penn State is currently battling breast cancer.
Katie Schumacher-Cauley.
Oh, there you go. You said it. Thank you. Man, what an amazing story.
Schumacher-Cauley with a slight Ivy League connection as well. She coached for a season at Penn before returning to Penn State and eventually rising to the head coach position there. Free throw for Katie Thiers is good. Tigers comfortably leading this one. 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. In the middle of a lengthy stretch of home games for the Tigers, as Erickson will shoot 2. Schedule's so odd for Princeton this year. 6 games away, 7 games at home in this section right here. You've got Middle Tennessee coming up, and you've got that matchup with Lemoyne on New Year's Eve as well. And then you're right into league play right after the first of the year, January the 4th, on this floor against Cornell, and the following Saturday afternoon against Harvard.
Yeah, has not been an easy non-conference schedule for either team, but that's what you want. When you have high expectations to win your conference, you know that you need to challenge yourself in the non-con. And, we talk about this next game coming up for Princeton, a Middle Tennessee team, consistently one of the best mid-major programs in the country, consistently compete for Conference USA championship. I had the chance to call their championship game last year. I love what their coaching staff has been able to do year after year after year. So that will be a challenge for the Tigers.
And let's remember, Middle Tennessee and Princeton played a year ago down in Tennessee, sort of a homecoming game of sorts for Amelia Osgood, as Lenz has the bucket inside, and the team played a barn burner of a game. Osgood, coincidentally, with a couple of clinching free throws in the final 30 seconds of that one.
Following the Princeton foul, back to the line for Vermont for one shot.
There's Malia Lenz, 5'10 sophomore, originally from British Columbia. Made 21 appearances in her first year at Vermont. Not able to complete the three-point play. Bella Vito on the offensive glass has it knocked away by Nowecki. Edie thought about it. Shovels to Katie Thiers, who left it on the front door. Nowecki denied inside. Battle for the rebound. And the tie-up will keep it at this end of the floor.
Great job by Thiers to stay on the glass here. And then Olsen kind of came down with it, allowed herself to get tied up.
Chia to put it in for Princeton. 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 12 points. Princeton starting point guard. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Chia, the step back. She got hit.
Really nice step back. But yeah, she creates so much separation just one-on-one. Oh, it's hard to guard, partner.
How do you guard a step back? It is a forever problem that I never saw. Under 5 minutes to go. Tigers by 21. Well, Vermont trying to rally late in this one, held to just 32 points by a dominant Princeton Tiger defense today. Ice, Vermont shooting just 27% from the field. But, when we talked to Elisa Kresge, head coach for the Catamounts, she was talking about how much she likes the mentality of her team. And she likes that they are so even-keeled that even when they are not playing at their best, that they still bring a great energy to the court every day. And I think that's a little bit of a lesson for them this afternoon, because just haven't played very well offensively. But sort of what do you take away from a game like this if you're Vermont?
Yeah, I mean, games like this for them, we've seen several of these games throughout the season, but the teams that they have played, the Quinnipiacs, the Buffaloes, the Minnesotas, like you talked about, like they have just really challenged themselves. And so I think your biggest takeaway is, can you win the games within the games, right? Sometimes when games get away from you and your team is up 20 plus points, you start to say, hey, can we just win this quarter? Or, hey, can we win this 5 minutes? Or, hey, can we get 3 stops in a row twice in the fourth quarter? And so I think as a coach, you find ways to win the game within the game. And again, this clearly isn't a team who's just ready to accept defeat. Great defense, man. Really nice block.
Emily Edie denying Vito. Thiers wants it inside. Senior captain, originally from Seattle, Washington. Draws a crowd. Edie for 3. No good. Cleared by Gilwee. Hahn for 3. There you go. That's what you're looking for from Emma Hahn off the bench. Super high IQ player. Had a couple of made threes in Vermont's win over Manhattan.
Yeah, she doesn't need much time or space to get it off.
Double Vermont basketball substitution for Vermont, returning Sarah Lazar.
Turnover by Emily Edie.
Onto the floor, number
15th turnover of the day, and for the first time, Adora Wokic on the floor for Princeton, number 1 in the white and orange. Vito putting it on the deck. Good look for Malia Lenz. That's a triple.
She started to heat up here a little bit more in the second half. player that was starting a majority of the games the first part of the season, has played some time off the bench.
Wokic missed it inside. Hahn, another three. That's good.
You could see she was calling for it. As she was going in transition and finding space, she had her hands right in the pocket, ready to shoot.
Third triple for Emma Hahn. She's got 9.
Which leads all scorers, partner, for Vermont. It's just been one of those afternoons in which their bench has really been the main threat.
Beautiful stuff from Thiers, but couldn't finish with the left hand.
See, I'm old school, partner. I'm going back to Hahn. There's no way that my teammate knocks down 2 in a row and I don't find her on the next possession, right? It's a simple pitch and play action. Maybe you drive at her defender, you pitch it back to her so she can shoot right in motion. But you got to feed the hot hand, especially when you struggle to score. You got to feed the hot hand.
Pretty much all bench points for Vermont today. It's 18 total, but it was Erickson in the first half, Hahn here in the second half. Couple of free throws for Toby Nowecki as Vermont has gone over the limit. First shot no good for Toby Nowecki. Georgetown visitation prep. Something in the water down there with the way they teach their players defensively. Head coach Carla Berube talking to us about that on the Get Stops podcast. That's between her and Ellie Mitchell and Fadima Tall, that players are so well prepared to play at this level when they arrive.
Yes, you have to be. You know that there is a high expectation and a standard that's being set. Coach Berube told us, when you see Princeton on your schedule, you know that's going to be a good win for you at some point throughout the season. So they know that there's a target on their backs.
Under 2 minutes to go. Wokic comes to get it. Nowecki, the kick out. Wokic putting it on the deck and draws a whistle. Free throws coming because Vermont is over the limit.
Seen a couple fouls for Vermont today, just fouling the jump shooter. You want to give a player, you want to contest the shot, but you don't want to commit the foul.
Your Tigers shooting 2.
First free throw good for Adora Wokic, somebody that doesn't get a ton of minutes, but very much is the backbone of this team. Anytime you see Princeton women's basketball players around with smiles on their face, it's probably because Adora has just raised the vibes that high.
I totally agree with that. I had the opportunity to do media training with this team right before they entered March Madness last season, and she just comes with such a light, and everyone's gravitating towards her. And again, we're doing media training, so there's interviews, right? So everyone gets to show their personality. And Adora has so much. I was actually like, in case you want to get into broadcasting, let me know. I think you have
Let's
a good time.
Did you exchange phone
on
numbers?
this side of it as well. I'll pitch her a little later. I'll let her finish playing basketball first.
She's got some more time, right? Paige Morton, the target inside and scores it off the window. Princeton hits the round number 60 points on their way to a seventh win of the season. Erickson can't get the roll. Fight for the rebound controlled by Vermont, and free throws for Sarah Lazar.
And these are great moments for a player like Lazar. Erickson we've seen play a little bit more today, but some of those other players off the bench that maybe in a close competitive game don't get a chance to get in, this is where you can take your time to show what you can do. Take advantage. Yeah.
Somebody like that, right?
Exactly.
Just her 7th appearance of the season coming today. Lazar makes the second.
Substitution for Vermont.
Senior checks out for Frieda. Nowecki missed it short. Hahn Has her pass intercepted by Wokic. In the final seconds, Princeton can put this one on ice. Well, for the Princeton Tigers, they're going to go to 48-4 under head coach Carla Berube on their home floor at Jadwin. What a present to find under the tree a couple days ahead of Christmas as the Tigers pick up a second straight win on their home floor.